We have no pending legislation, and I can open it up to miscellaneous. Anybody from my committee has miscellaneous? No? From council? No? From the body? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Mrs. Bailey, second. Mr. Griffin, and we are adjourned at 6:06. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Angela. Next up, Environmental Health and Social Services.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call to order the Environmental Health and Social Services Committee. It is December 4th. It's 6:06 p.m. We are in council chambers. All members are present, which is myself as chair, Mr. Jaber, and Mrs. Angeloff. All other council members are present, and all others are as noted on my sheet. We do not have any new topics of requested legislation or pending legislation, so I'd like to open this up for miscellaneous discussion. Anything? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
And I will second.
We are adjourned at 6:06 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Next up, planning and codes with Mrs. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to bring the Planning, Annexation, and Codes Committee to order. It is Monday, December 4th, 2023, 6:07 p.m. here in council chambers. All members of the committee are present, which includes myself as chair, Mrs. Angeloff, Mr. Jaber, and President Greer. All other council members are also present, as well as guests noted on my agenda sheet. We have no new requests for legislation, nor any pending legislation. I do want to note that the Planning Commission meeting is this Wednesday, the 6th, rather than the usual third Wednesday of the month. And Design Review Board has been canceled on the 12th due to lack of agenda. Is there any other miscellaneous discussion for planning? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 6:08.
Last one is finance personnel, right?
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance and Personnel, it is 6:08, Monday, December 4th, 2023. We're in council chambers. The committee is present, which consists of Councilors Coburn, Thompson, President Greer, and myself as chair. All others noted. First request is a letter from our engineer, Michael Tiadecki, requesting legislation to pay an invoice to GPD for work completed in the amount of $3,518 for the study. Emergency wording has been requested. Everybody saw the paperwork on that? Are there any questions? Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. Riddick. What was the study entailing? I see it, I was looking for the invoice, I didn't see like what the study was.
GPD did a facility study looking at the water, streets, and the garages to find out the condition, the age, and of the structures, and how might they be improved.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Riddick.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to call for this?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next is from Mayor Judge requesting an ordinance adopting the 2024 Street Capital Improvement Fund, Fund 201. Emergency wording is requested. Did everybody get the update from the Finance Director? Are there any questions for the Mayor or the Finance Director about this? Do I have a motion to call for this?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
And I will open this up. Is there any miscellaneous conversation from the council?
I have nothing.
From the gallery? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 6:10.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick. That concludes our individual committee meetings for this evening. With no objection, I'd like to roll right into the committee of the whole meeting.
Works for me.
All right. Actually, I did this last time. I'm not doing it again. All right. Today's Monday, December 4th, 2023. It's a committee of the whole meeting for Barberton City Council. I call this meeting to order at 6:11 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we begin our normal routine here for Committee of the Whole, we are going to be presenting a resolution to Coach Tony Gatto. Clerk, if you could read off the resolution. Mrs. Angeloff, will you please present the resolution? Thank you. After the resolution has been presented to Mr. Gatto, council members are encouraged to get up and do what we do. So.
Resolution number 142-2023, commendation, Coach Tony Gatto. A resolution of the Council of the City of Barberton to honor and give public recognition to Coach Tony Gatto as being Barberton's winningest football coach. Whereas Coach Gatto accomplished this honor over 9 seasons with 72 wins, 3-time Suburban League champions, 6 state playoff appearances. In Coach Gatto's 9 seasons, he won 72 games with 36 losses. And whereas in 2017, Coach Gatto had his first undefeated regular season going 10-0, and whereas in 2018, Coach Gatto accomplished a second undefeated season, and whereas Coach Gatto's teams have been above 500 in 8 of his 9 seasons, with the exception being the COVID-shortened season of 2020, and whereas Coach Gatto spent time as an assistant coach at Talmadge and Kenmore before being named head coach at his alma mater in 2014, and whereas Coach Gatto is married to Serafina and has 2 sons and twin daughters, Coach Gatto also teaches at the Barberton Middle School. Additionally, Mr. Gatto is a 1992 Barberton graduate. And whereas this council, along with the administration, wish Coach Gatto health and happiness for years to come. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Barberton, State of Ohio, Section 1, that the Council of the City of Barberton hereby honors and gives public recognition to football coach Tony Gatto as being the winningest coach. Section 2, that it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and related to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and all deliberations of this council and any committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with the law. Section 3, that this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the earliest period allowed by law. Passed unanimously, November 13th, 2023.
Thank you, Clerk. Ms. Angeloff, if you would like to present.
Can I say something first?
Yes, ma'am.
I think Coach Gatto knows that I can't go without saying something. I've known Coach Gatto 25-plus years. His son and my son, we lived on the same street, and so they played football together. Tony was always a light on Sunday night dinners at our house. And too, my son coached 7th and 8th grade football for him, and his job, my son's job, he could not do it any longer, or else he would have been right next to Tony. My 2 grandsons, they were both on playoff teams. That meant a lot to my husband and I, who always backed football and backed the sports in Barberton, backed the kids. That's what we do. I knew when Coach Gatto was in high school that he had that determination that after high school, he was going to go on and he was going to play football for college and be a coach. I always listened to Talmy, just hoping that one of these days he would come back home. He was born and raised here in Barberton. His mother worked for the schools. And when that opportunity came and he took the Barberton job, that was just the cherry on top. It was just like he came back to town. I couldn't be more prouder, but his mother was really proud. And I just wanted to say that I'm so proud that the Magic City can call you the winningest football coach at BHS, and that my family and many, many other families were part of this history. God bless you in what you do. I see you have Angelo with you. He's in 8th grade, up and coming running back for Barberton High School. And I just want to congratulate you. That is, should be very proud. I know the people in town are very proud of that.
Coach, could you step up and receive the resolution, please?
I'd like to present this. My name's on it, so that has to mean something. I know the mayor's sitting here now. But, put that with all your other stuff. Appreciate it. And congratulations. We love you.
Speech.
Oh, he's like me. He's not going to go without a speech. He's going to say something. Joycey?
No, I gotta give him after the walk
If you wanted to say something, you say there.
Obviously, thank you, appreciate it, it's an honor. Anytime, the community, the special people in Barberton are complimenting you and honoring you with an award is always great. As we all know, it's hard work. It's something that's not easy in the community of Barberton. It's tough in the schools, it's tough in our programs. I know a lot of you guys are huge in support, and we are grateful for it. My program's grateful for it. My kids are grateful for it. My son has got to be out here the last 2 years and experience it. It's special. So, again, thanks, Mayor Judge, and thank you, Council, for the honor. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. When Tony started coaching, he had black hair.
Yeah.
But I did too. I had darker hair when I started council, so.
Could be worse.
Yeah. There are some coaches that are that way too, so.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
All right. Coach, you don't have to stick around. This is the boring part.
He's excited. He was ready anyway.
Bye, Angela. Tony's here.
Okay.
You have one kind of that. I think there's one. Brad's tied up at Akron for $50 million.
All right. Next order of business is citizens addressing council. There were none. And we'll hop into committee reports, and we'll start with street sidewalk and lighting with Mrs. Angela.
Thank you, Mr. President. Street, Sidewalk, and Lighting Committee met this evening at 6:03. All members were present, all council members were present, and guests is noted on my sheet. We had one request for legislation. It's a letter from our city engineer, Michael Teodecki, requesting legislation permitting the mayor to apply for the resurfacing program funds programmed by the Akron Metropolitan Area Study, AMVITS, to improve streets as I had already listed. That was called on and passed. We had no pending legislation, no miscellaneous, and with that, I forgot.
Pass.
Pass.
It's all right. We still got a couple meetings to go. Thank you, Ms. Angela. Next up, Planning, Annexation, and Codes with Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning, Annexation, and Codes Committee met this evening, December 4th, at 6:07 PM here in council chambers. All members of the committee were present, as well as all council members and guests as noted on my sheet. We had no new requested legislation, no pending legislation, and for miscellaneous, I just mentioned the change in the Planning Commission meeting will be this Wednesday, and Design Review Board has been canceled due to lack of agenda. We adjourned at 6:08. With that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. City Utilities, Mrs. Coburn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was absent last week, so I have to defer to Mrs. Fry.
Thank you, Mrs. Fry.
I don't have your,
Oh,
I don't have your report, but I don't think that
we had nothing.
There was no
I don't
legislation.
think anybody had anything.
Do we have the
Right.
minutes when she reported?
I have my copy of them, they're downstairs. I didn't get you guys.
Yeah, we had nothing on the
Nothing to
agenda.
Nothing to report?
Did you give her the reports? Because she doesn't have mine.
Yeah, I gave them all to her.
Yeah, she has them. That's what she was just
No, I
saying.
have mine, I never got.
Okay, well, we'll address that after.
Because I get everything's.
Yeah, but she-
All right, so just for clarification, City Utilities has nothing.
No, we have
Report.
nothing. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Coburn. Public Welfare and Safety, Mrs. Fry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Welfare and Safety met last week in council chambers. We had no new legislation, and we had no pending legislation, and we had no miscellaneous discussion, and with that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Fry. Rules, Marketing, Development, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rules, Marketing, and Development met on November 27th. We met in council chambers. All members were present and guests as noted. We had no new legislation. We adjourned at 6:07. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Environmental Health and Social Services, Mrs. Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Environmental Health and Social Services Committee met this evening in council chambers. All members were present. There was no new topics of requested legislation or pending legislation, and there was also no miscellaneous discussion. We adjourned at 6:06, and with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Bailey. City Properties, Parks and Recreation, Mr. Jaber.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Properties and Park Recreation met November 27th. I also have nothing to report, and so I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Jaber. Last but not least, Finance and Personnel, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance and Personnel is calling for the following. Excuse me. Legislation to pay an invoice to GPD for work completed in the amount of $3,518 for a study with emergency wording, and legislation to adopt the 2024 Street Capital Improvement Fund, which is Fund 201. Emergency wording has been requested, and with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick. That concludes our committee reports. Is there any remarks from the body? No? Any remarks from department heads? All right, I have one thing here. We are getting down to the wire. After this meeting, there is only 3 meetings left because we're going to combine one of our meetings. Next week, Monday, December 11th, we'll have a regular legislative meeting. Directly after that, we will have a committee of the whole meeting. All committees will be meeting next week for the committee of the whole. And our last meeting of 2023 will be on Monday, December 18th, 2023, which will be a regular legislative meeting to finish out the year. Besides,
Wait.
yeah, we're not going to the 26th
Okay.
or 27th. unless something changes, so I'll let everybody know. I don't have anything else, so Mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week, the Mayor's Association and the Greater Akron Chamber of Commerce, Summit County, and many others met with the Deputy Consul General of Japan and members of the Japan External Trade Organization. If you recall, last year, we traveled with the Mayor's Association and their contingent there through Canada, meeting with dignitaries, universities, and businesses. With the global economy that we have today, it's vitally important that these meetings happen. Regionally, Japan and Canada make up a very sizable amount of direct investment into the United States with jobs and with products. Japan is the number one for here in Ohio. So you think regionally, Bridgestone Firestone, right? So owned by a company in Japan there. Locally, many of the businesses that we deal with here make pieces and parts for these larger companies. So this kind of trickle-down effect. So whether it's the automotive industry, it's aerospace, it's polymers, it's various fabricating, continuing to build on our local economy and having these meetings with foreign dignitaries on foreign direct investment, additional business opportunities, and new jobs is vital. So those are going to continue. Great meeting last week, and so I'll keep you abreast as we move forward. Current council members and council-elect, please submit a list of streets for consideration for the 2024 road resurfacing program by emailing me. We're moving forward on that. Conducted a BRE last week with ARDL, a company here in town, testing facility, mostly polymers, plastics, and rubber. Leadership Akron was there, taking a tour as well. It's businesses like this that I speak of that kind of build our local economy, and they're used by every industry. It's very impressive what they do. It's a small family-owned company, but it's making a big impact here. And again, they span all industries. And then just finally, we're still collecting through the end of January non-perishables for Backham and the Barberton Salvation Army. Donations can be made at my office or at the Lake Anna YMCA. If you wish to make a monetary donation, please write a check, no cash, and make it out to either Backham or the Barberton Salvation Army. That's all I have, unless there's any questions. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. With nothing else, this meeting is adjourned at 6:28 PM. Thank you.
Wow.